Greetings, loved ones, and welcome to your Equity Quickie meditation. Let's begin by setting intentions to cleanse and charge our bodies, to ground to Mother Earth so our new wisdoms may become knowings, and to connect to the high powers and energy of equity. And so let's begin by taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, visualizing a cleansing, healing light entering your body, and now releasing any unwanted emotions or feelings with your exhale. That's it. Deep breath in again, watching as this crystalline energy rushes into your being, attaching now to anything of a lower vibration. This energy easily being released as you push it out with your breath. Good. Deep breath in again. Fill your lungs with this divine healing light, and out, letting any attachments you have of low order to be quickly whisked away at this time. Continue with this mindful breathing, bringing attention now to the top of your head, your crown chakra, and begin opening this energy center like a lotus flower, watching as your beautiful energy starts connecting with the universe, the higher powers, and with the angels. Your energies joyfully dancing and spiraling together, a homecoming celebration that can be seen and felt by all present. An angelic reunion you will now have a few moments to enjoy. And now imagine this beautiful energy being witnessed starts entering your crown chakra and moving down your body. This highly charged universal light now purging you of anything that is negative, dirty, and not serving you, and effortlessly removing it by exhaling your hands and feet. You feel that, loved ones? That's the divine light rushing through your soul, like millions of activations all happening at once. This intelligent light is now illuminating areas within your being where you have cords and energy attached to others. This clarity making you aware of the importance to call back your power and sever any dysfunctional cords you have to people or things. Returning your energy back with love, understanding that you are no one's source and no one is yours. And so call back your power, brothers and sisters. Detach from these negative energy sources you've been feeding from. Choose to no longer let these lower vibrational energies attach. Rather, always stay connected to Father, as you should be. Your connection with Creator now becoming cleaner and stronger, accompanied with your deep desire to dispose of interests possessing you. Your awakened conscience calls for justice and peace, all clear evidence of your higher calling. And realizing this, we are finding grace through a guarded and secret position to finally free ourselves of sin, guilt, and wrongdoing that until now has kept us out of the garden and out of our natural state of peace and harmony. But right here, right now, you are being restored. You are showing signs of life. So let's take this moment to embrace the mercy of this innocence and to remember who and what we really are, and how powerful this moment truly is. And why is it so important? Because you are ready to love and be loved, and the powers have been guiding you your whole life, so you would remember this call and know what to do. And when it was time, you could apply everything you've learned, so you may take the next steps of perfecting your rightful position to become the ambassadors of peace that equity requires, to be worthy and entitled to Father's 5D garden, and to be brave as lions as we do, staying in trust and staying in control, showing all the divine beings that are watching us our limitless skill and ability to rise. This cosmic alignment continuing to build and strengthen within you, you start to feel a warm sensation beginning to flow all around. Colors that dance and swirl together, making your body and mind feel lighter, excited and charged, your senses becoming clearer, quicker, and more accurate. And from this aligned state of being, let's set intentions to connect with your spirit guides, with the galactic alliances, and all the helpers and healers of the light. Feel their presence. Feel their joy as they wrap their big, beautiful wings around you and now shield you in a protective sphere of white light. And from this place of joy and love, ask now that Source and these higher beings connect you with the energy of the truth and the energy of equity. Equity being a fifth dimensional energy. Energy our guides, the Royal Galactics, and Archangels know well. In fact, they have been awaiting your arrival, and they're so excited you're here. And so ask that these divine beings of light help you to learn and understand the energy of equity, and that the information you receive be in alignment with its frequency, and that the principles and messages from these sources come in accurately, clearly, and equitably. These equity masters start coming together and circling around you and begin beaming you light codes of knowledge and wisdom, a download that streams through your entire being, that starts flowing through you to the belly of Mother Gaia. A favor she quickly returns by securing and anchoring you against her belly, this making you feel so light and free. Your whole being is illuminating and awakening to seeing and understanding these once forgotten, now remembered truths. You see, loved ones, this is how we connect to higher powers. This is how we merge with the spirit of equity and its elite masters. This is how you fill your cup. More importantly, this is how you feed. You'll now have a few moments to enjoy the flow of this energy and the frequency and spirit of equity.
Hello, loved ones. We are back. I know it's been a little while, and that's because this one coming through today, she's a beast. Hang on. I know we say this every time, but this one's a bit of a stallion. You're going to have to bring in the reins a little bit. You're going to have to ground yourself. There's a reason why we're doing these meditations. Thank you to the loved ones that we saw that showed up. We appreciate that. You should score very well today. Now, this one I'm excited about bringing forward. And for me, the reason that is I have wanted to know the breakdown of Parliament for quite some time. When we are dealing with our security interests, very valuable instruments, you know, we see loved ones that just go, okay, who am I sending it to? But this is designed, this course, so that you can see all the different players, what their positions are when you went to the wrong counter. Remember that. Don't be mad at them. We were the ones who went to the counter who signed up for exactly what we're getting. And how we're being treated by the game is exactly a reflection of which counter we went to. So this is a thing. We're going to be talking about dark. I was grabbing my head, my face. I had to walk this one off. I don't know how many times because this one's heavy. We had to go down and grab ugly, dirty things and shake them off. And sometimes we had to beat them. That's why we call it smashing it up into applesauce, because it's just too chewy. And there were times I do this thing where I just kind of rock a little bit because it helps me. I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't good enough. Nope, we have to break this down more. And we also know our loved ones have been expressing keen interest in the visuals that this one does. So he did quite the artistry today. It's going to put some giggles. It's going to give you the visuals that you need so that we can start connecting a few more dots. Now, here's the thing. This course is stacked with 33 questions. Ha! We have over 84 slides. The most amount of slides we've ever had is 44. So we smoked our last one. Thank you to my kings and queens who stood up every time and had our backs to make sure we could deliver this. So we send our love and appreciation in this time. Okay, so we are going to be talking about some, hold on. Give me one moment here, loved ones. I got to get set up my screen.
Okay, everybody, before we get rolling again, please just keep in mind, this is for Canada specifically. North America is similar. So some of the titles and offices that we're going to be describing here, for example, the United States doesn't really deal with ministers. They sort of have secretaries and secretaries of state and things of this nature. So again, it's the concept is the meat and potatoes of what we're after. Don't be worried about, we don't have that. And don't worry. We as a group will help fill in any missing pieces and blanks for everybody moving forward. This is just a general overview of how things are working for any country that participates in the International Monetary Fund principles.
So the dark team is going to have a similar skeleton. That's the whole point. And this is where we need you, loved ones, to start helping one another. Start coming together in different parts of the world so that you can start putting these pieces together, as far as the diagrams that we're going to be showing you, so you can start filling in how it works in your part of the world. Okay, so here we go. This is what we're going to be talking about today, loved ones. This is episode 2 only, part 3. Because we have to layer this. We're talking about equity versus legal with the dark team versus the light team. There's a lot to cover. So we're going to be talking about the federal dark team. We're going to be talking about the provincial dark team, and then something called public general dark team. Now, we learned last class the beginning structures of the dark team. I'm just going to see if I can make this a little bigger so that you guys can see that. Okay, so here's the structure. We already know Satan's at the top. We got the queen right underneath them. We've got the governor general. Okay, so as you can see, these three are overseeing the federal and the provincial levels. So this is why we took the GG, that's the governor general, and we put him on the first layer of the federal dark team. Now, this is going to be this is what's great about these slides, loved ones, is you can print them off and you can put your notes in here. So I know lots of you have some duotangs and binders. So for those of you that have that, I'm sorry, I know it's 80 some pages, but at the same time, you're going to get a wealth of knowledge from this one. Okay, so let's go into question number 1, loved ones. The judges administer the law for good or evil. True or false? If you answered true, very good. Well done. I'm just going to make my screen a little bit smaller here. Sorry, one moment. This screen. Oh, this one's just not liking it. There we go. Okay. Now, the reason for this, loved ones, is because it depends on, again, what counter that you went up to. So if you showed up in person, then you're automatically bound by the laws and legislation. Equity cannot help you. Again, it's those wings that are tucked in underneath that legal jacket.
So again, as the record states clearly, we're all born into sin. So we're already all born into the law system, legal system. So now again, this is all where it's a matter of getting ourselves cleaned up, getting ourselves in the right position, and then hitting the eject button on the legal side and coming to the good side, back into the garden.
Okay. Let's go into question number 2. We got a lot of questions to get through here, loved ones. So a judge can administer the law for your trust from a public courtroom. True or false? All right, loved ones. A judge can administer the law of your trust from a public courtroom. No, he cannot. Nope. Now, why is that? A judge would administer equity for your trust in private, not publicly. That's a big difference. Public courts are reserved for public only.
We've had a number of occasions. I've never experienced this one personally, but Dean did twice. The judge gets up and runs out of the courtroom. That may sound incredible and yay, victory, but you know what? That's ideally not what we're after. We want the judge on our side working with us, of course, but again, as soon as we started coming at the public court with enough raw equity, the judge hits the eject button and runs. So clearly, he doesn't want to commingle or mix any equitable doctrines and principles whatsoever into the public. They have no business dealing with each other like that.
And this is where it can confuse those who are bringing this kind of information into a courtroom, thinking it doesn't work, but it's being knocked at the wrong door.
And again, remember, loved ones, for those who are experiencing this response from a judge, there's no legal statute or procedure or process to deal with what you're talking about. Okay, well then what's the next thing out of your mouth? See, if you don't have that preload ready, the judge is kind of just sitting there waiting, and the longer it waits, the more he knows you don't know what you're talking about.
And if you don't got a preload, we suggest you don't go. Just saying. Okay, question number 3. Why can't a judge administer equity in a public courtroom? So we're going to layer your wisdoms here a bit, loved ones. So A, is it a conflict of interest? B, the public can't recognize the private. C, equity is for the living and the public is for the dead. D, because the judges promised not to tell. E, A, B, and C, or F, all of the above. Okay, so why can't a judge administer equity into a public courtroom? Because F, all of the above. It's a conflict. The public can't recognize the private. We can't see you. That's simple. Equity's for the living, public's for the dead. You're in the wrong room. And yes, this was a bit of a tricky question. The judges promised not to tell.
Right after the 1930-ish Emergency Banking Relief Act combined with the War Measures Act, when they passed all those legislations, the very next things they passed globally was the Secrecy Acts that all these servants allegedly now must follow. And they literally do follow it pretty tightly. There's a very incorporative net that's got eyeballs on to all these public people to make sure that they're not talking or letting the secrets out. They take this very seriously, actually.
They can't have the secrets get out. The game goes, whew. There's an illusion to be kept here. And they are respectful of it. And that's why judges are in a really tough spot sometimes. And Darren has spoken to this before, how judges have to go on retreats every couple months, 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, this is where they got to go ground, connect, clear, flush, probably watch a bunch of divergence meditation videos. And really, this is to help them deal with Can you imagine destroying people's lives almost daily, hourly, like all the time? Yeah, there's the odd victory. Haha, awesome case, like ta-da. But for the most part, no, it's a wrecking ball for these people. And some of them, yes, they probably enjoy it, but I'm going to suggest a whole bunch of them don't. It's a lot tougher on the psyche than we would think TV and Hollywood lets us believe.
And we also know how hard it is to keep a very big secret. Think of that, loved ones. When you have to hold one of the greatest secrets that no one knows about, imagine the weight of that. So this is why we encourage as Divergents to come in with respect and honor and grace. Don't be yelling and screaming in a jailhouse. That's not how you do it. Okay, let's go to question number 4. Once you are private, the judge can administer equity from A, any courtroom, B, a court of chancery, C, judge's chambers, D, anywhere you ask the judge to meet you, E, B and C, F, B, C and D, or G, all of the above.
Are we ever going to get to a question where there's an H?
Yes,
We
actually. Today!
Oh, yay.
Wow, very good, family. You finished that one in record time. Once you are private, the judge can administer equity from F, B, C, and D, which is a court of chancery, judge's chambers, and anywhere you ask the judge to meet you. It is not in any courtroom. We just talked about that. And this will be interesting for some of you to know that a judge will meet you anywhere but a public courtroom.
Yeah, again, remember, loved ones, the public is reserved for the idiots, enemies, belligerents,
Lunatics!
rebels, all of those, that classification of persons. So you can literally, hey, Your Honor, can you please meet me at McDonald's at such and such a street at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Yeah, they actually will. And believe it or not, for the first time in history, in Canada anyway, this was about a year or two ago, the Supreme Court of Canada, now this panel typically hears cases based out of Ottawa, Ontario, in Canada. 2-ish years ago, the Supreme Court of Canada heard cases in Winnipeg. The entire Supreme Court, all of them, literally went to Winnipeg to hear court matters. That was the first time this has ever happened. Okay, that means they are mobile. Now, your province or your territory or state is one of these Supreme Court justices is going to be the chief of your state or province. So we're going to develop these beautiful relationships with these people. Hang on.
Okay, here we go. Question number 5. This one's a little chewy. Hang on.
Holy, there's I.
I know. I even went past H on this one. So what can you expect if you bring equity to a public court without notice? Now, this is for those of you who have court cases coming up, specially designed for you. So if you bring equity to a public court, A, expect to get shot down and threatened with jail time. B, the judge will say there are no codes and statutes to deal with this matter. C, the judge will deny your answer and proceed to hearing the plaintiff's claim. D, adjourn the matter and go for a recess. E, the judge will ask you to come to private chambers with him. F, he will dismiss the case against you. G, A, B, C, and D. H, A, B, C, D, and E. Or I, all of the above. Okay, this one was chunky, I know, but we're going to break this one down. So, what can you expect if you bring equity to a public court without notice? It's G, loved ones. A, B, C, and D. You can expect to get shot down and threatened with jail time. The judge is going to say there's no codes or statutes to deal with this matter. The judge is going to deny your answer and proceed to hearing the plaintiff's claim and adjourn the matter and go for a recess. He will not ask you to go to public chambers. He will not dismiss the case. And why is that?
Because typically, again, loved ones, when you're in that defendant position, we don't have much to work with. We have probably 2 equitable remedies to play with, and that's it. Now, the other key part of this question was, you notice how we came without notice. So what we just did technically is we showed up in public court and surprise, Your Honor. The court
Judges don't like surprises.
The court does not like to be embarrassed like that. And then here's the alternative. Well, Your Honor, I just remembered out in the parking lot, and I walked in and blah.
And knew all this.
Really? The judge is going to say, really? You just remembered all that? Not likely to happen. So, again, this is where the judge is not going to be cutting you any slack because you showed up with, I don't want to say bad faith, but this whole surprise element, it doesn't go very well. It doesn't bode very well for us. So what I'm suggesting here is even the day before court, send something. This is my intent, Your Honor. Do something. Just don't show up on that court day loaded and armed to the teeth with all this equity stuff and expect to knock the ball out of the park. I'm going to say it's 99 times out of 100 not going to work. There is 1% though, where if you come in sweet as pie and you're calm and collective and you just walk this through, you could get the judge to stand up, go for recess, come back. Why does he get up, leave the court, and come back? Why? Because the jurisdiction just switches. This is an opportunity. It can be done. I'm just saying do not rely on that. Again, coming from the defendant spot, you got nothing. When I say there's 2, let's just pretend there's nothing because we don't want to be in that defendant spot at all. The best thing to do here, loved ones, like we've said in the past, now you got to come as the plaintiff. You got to come bring your own claim, a counterclaim. Now you can let the equities rip, but don't from the defendant spot. It's a tough, tough, tough hill to climb.
And we know there's many loved ones that are trying to seek remedy. We understand that. That's why we're laying this out the way we are for you. We have loved ones that jump into our chats and like, okay, so I watched a couple of your videos. I got a court in 4 days from now. Should I be putting a piece of silver on my birth certificate? Does anyone know what I'm supposed to put on there? This is where, again, there are certain things that you can say to buy yourself more time.
Lots of things, as a matter of fact. But again, I posted one on the Telegram chat here just the other day. Beautiful little layout, and
Dynamite.
It was like 8 sentences in total. Super short, super sweet. So again, it's possible. We're not here to deter the ambitious ones, but there's just a better, cleaner way of doing all this with in honor.
Well, you're representing equity. Equity's 5D. So if you come in angry, you come in 3D, you come in with a bunch of problems, dirty, sludgy, you're going to get muddy results, loved ones. So this is where we're trying to clean you up a little bit so you can go in and hold that space and that presence and be able to speak and allow equity to flow through you. That's key.
And just one more touching on a point here. Again, so yeah, the judge will not dismiss your case. He's going to hear it on the public side. He'll find you guilty standing right there. But we've actually had good friends of myself and my brother where this gentleman and his brother walked into that public court, laid out a bunch of equitable remedies, got found guilty of contempt of court, and sentenced to 30 days in jail. Sheriffs come and grab them, put them in handcuffs publicly, walk him past the judge's bench, out the back door to jail, right? Well, that's what you would have thought. However, 5 minutes later, the same sheriff is undoing the cuffs. They open the back door to the courthouse, and out they go. So you see, they have to maintain that public illusion.
Okay, here we go. Question number 6. Equity and its maxims can be recognized and dealt with in a court of chancery, but only recognized in a court of law. True or false? Okay, so we've spoken of maxims before, and our private family is going to be showing up hard when we start talking about the light team and maxims that apply to certain remedies that we're speaking to. But in the meantime, equity and its maxims can be recognized and dealt with in a court of chancery, but only recognized in a court of law. True. Knock, knock. Legal court says, state your name for the record. You say, my name is Levy 1976-14289. The judge says, oh, I can't hear that here. That's literally what the judge has to say. Whoa, wrong courtroom. Notice he's not disclaiming the trust. The judge is just saying, I can't open the door.
And he certainly cannot say, what trust are you talking about? Boom, see, he can't do that.
He can't touch it.
So why put him in that position? Just state a couple, well, Your Honor, it's my intent to create a trust. It's my intent to dispose of a something, and right? But don't lock the judge into that corner, because sometimes they come out on fire kicking.
All right, loved ones, here we go. So you're going to be able to print this cutie patootie print off. As you can see here, we're now layering this. So as the lines go across, we're going to start filling this all in for you so you can see it. But here's a judge. I'm going to make this a little bigger for you so you can see it. Okay. So there he is. There's the judges. So we got the Governor General, and now we've got the judges. So let's layer this again. All right. So who ranks after the Federal Attorney General and the judges for the dark team? Is it A, the Premier? Is it B, the Prime Minister? Is it C, the Lieutenant Governor? Or D, is it lawyers? All right, again, this is going to be a little different for different parts of the Commonwealth, but nonetheless, in Canada, who ranks after the Federal Attorney General and the judges for the dark team? If you answered B, the Prime Minister, very good. Justin Trudeau is Canada's Prime Minister. Not that we're proud of that.
CEO. That's another one of their ghost titles in the background. These cats, the presidents and the prime ministers and these guys, they're the chief executive officer of these corporations. So after the judges and after the Governor General, these guys now call the shots formally.
Now, we're not going to spend too much time on this, gentlemen, but question number 8. The Prime Minister is elected provincially by the sinners, the persons, the publicans, to rule over them as their king and father. True or false? All right, loved ones, we're going to see how many of you are reading all of the words. You know divergence is a little tricky. The Prime Minister is elected provincially by the sinners, the persons, publicans, to rule over them as the king and father. False. He's elected federally by the people. Like Darren said, he's the CEO of Canada, which means everyone's got a say. All right, let's keep moving here. You're going to see another cute little picture breaking down now. Justin Trudeau, you're going to notice his eyes are a little bit together. That was intentional. We'll let you blow that one up. I was like, Darren, nice, honey. So good. All right, so now you're starting to see how this is layering. We've got the Governor General, we've got the judges. Now we've got the Prime Minister. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Question number 9. Who is the Receiver General? Is he or she A, elected by the people, B, elected internally by the Governor General, C, accepts payments for taxes from legal persons. D, a federal position and is directly under the Prime Minister. E, deals with Treasury. F, A, C, D, and E, or G, B, C, D, and E. Okay, family, so who is the Receiver General? If you answered G, you are correct. The Receiver General is not elected by the people. The Receiver General is elected by the Governor General. You're going to see the GG has a lot of pull, and who has jobs in Parliament. C, the Receiver General accepts payments. That's why you make your taxes payable to the Receiver General. It's a federal position right under the Prime Minister, and the Receiver General does deal with Treasury.
Again, a master in the accountant world. This gentleman or lady is one of the chiefs of the entire taxation program. So these loved ones play with numbers all day. That's their job. They receive and then they pay out. That's strictly their title. This is what they do. Now, again, when you're in this infrastructure known as this taxation thing, money can come in and money can go out. So let's just make sure we're going to be on the output side of this spectrum so that we can live this life of milk and honey that we're all after. So, you know what, just going to throw this one in there quickly too. We already have, should I say this? We already have a relationship with this individual.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, so okay, back this up then.
No.
Pretend I didn't say it.
No. Here we go. That's their only hint for today.
All right.
We work real hard not giving too many hints because you don't get hints in courts, loved one. Here we go. Question number 10. Why is Receiver General important for actual relief? Okay, so now we're talking remedy. We just have an unstable internet connection. We're going to talk a lot of remedy in this class. So here's the first one. Why is the Receiver General important for equitable relief? A, it is. B, as a sinner, you already have a relationship with. He can accept your security interest as a grantee for Her Majesty. D, he is authorized to deal with Dominion security. All the above. Some connection here. All right, loved ones, I see our internet's kind of going a little choppy, so thank goodness we got some slides so that you can read them. But why is the Receiver General important for our equitable relief? Why? Because of F, all of the above. It's the office where the birth certificate is made payable to. As a sinner, he or she already knows you. They can accept your security interest as a grantee. Interesting.
Well, they need to receive this thing so that they can grant something back to you or us in return. So again, this little transaction this dance we're always doing, it comes into play more often than we think.
And can we talk about D? He's authorized to deal with Dominion securities.
The Dominion securities are the foundational identity document that we use to A, establish our political identity, Or B, we redeem that thing, walk away from the whole political spectrum, and be on our way privately, quietly. So again, this individual, they're already dealing with this dominion that we gave to them, and now knock, knock, we want it back.
And there he is. He's the guy with the money bag. That's how you're going to know him. He's right underneath the prime minister. And there is your receiver general. Okay, so now you're starting to see who we need to know and where their position is and their rank. All right, next question, number 11. The federal ministers are after the receiver general for the dark team and cover all aspects of government operations, such as finance, justice, health, including property and civil rights. True or false? Okay, this one's a little tricky, but you gotta know this. And this is something I had to hash out with Darren a lot to understand this. The federal ministers are after the receiver general for the dark team and cover all aspects of government operations such as finance, yes, justice, yes, health, yes, including property and civil rights, nope, false. The Constitution Act of 1867 differentiated who takes care of what positions, and the provinces take care of property and civil rights. Very important to remember that. Question number 12. There are federal ministers and provincial ministers. True or false? Okay, loved ones, are there federal ministers and provincial ministers? Yep, there sure are. And the federal ministers oversee the provincial ministers.
Again, loved ones, the federal level is just the overseers. They make sure all the provinces, states, or territories all sort of play by the same rules. That's technically the only real job description that the federal government has. They just make sure everything is played about the same.
All right, you're doing good. Keep it up. Now, currently, right now, Canada has 20 federal ministries. Okay, so here's an example of them. You're going to be able to look these over on the slides later. But this is the division of power. This is what we want to show you, what the federal takes care of and what the provincial takes care of. Because when you've got a security interest, if you're sending it to someone who can't accept it or who it's not supposed to go to, these guys know this very well, it's going to get kicked back to you. So to avoid that, you need to know who to send your stuff to. So here's what the federal deals with. You're not seeing any property there, are you, loved ones? Nope. But notice here that the division of power between the provinces, they deal with property. Yeah, but Jody, we're not talking about property. Yes, we are, because you're property.
Another word for property is interest, right, and title. Those are all examples of property. Yeah, your house is an example of property, but so is an interest in it.
That's where the whole chattel thing comes from. All right, so let's layer this up a little bit more. So now you're starting to see here, we've got the receiver general, and right after that, we've got all the other ministers. Okay, and those change all the time.
Oh, I almost let something out of the bag. Good thing I didn't.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, question number 13. Choose all of the answers that apply to the Attorney General, which we call the AG. A, they are federal and provincial AGs. B, there are federal and provincial deputy AGs who are the AG's bosses. C, the Attorney General is the Minister of Justice. D, all AGs are lawyers. E, A, B, and C, F, A, B, and D, or G, all of the above. Okay, so choose all the answers that apply to the Attorney General. It's E, loved ones, A, B, and C. This one was a shocker for me. I wrote this question and Darren was reviewing it. He's like, oh, honey, nope, attorney generals aren't, or attorney generals are not all lawyers. Hear that. Attorney generals don't have to be lawyers.
Which was an odd twist, but again, I had firsthand experience with this when I was back in Manitoba a number of years ago, where the attorney general at the time happened to have a financing background with no law experience. Well, then how can you be an attorney general? Interestingly enough, she was. So there you go. The backgrounds on the public side can be pretty loosey-goosey. Again, we've got astronauts that are governor generals now. And,
actors that are presidents.
Yeah, so so it's an interesting bag of tricks.
Right? Okay, and it was also interesting, if you notice, loved ones, so when we ask you to print these off and say, hey, what position is this one also known as? The Attorney General is also known as the Minister of Justice. That's a big one to know, loved ones.
And again, this is typically, you're looking at two capacities right here. You're looking at two different titles. I'm looking at two distinct different things. An attorney general, well, that's absolutely going to be legal. But a minister of justice, as soon as you're talking about justice, well, that's half of equity. You're almost there. And as a minister, again, scripture talks about go and talk to the ministers in those days. Okay, well, a minister of justice certainly sounds appealing on the private side. So again, there's so many twists and turns and loops and bumps and like this.
But good to know. If you ever want to be an attorney general, you don't have, or the minister of finance or justice, you don't have to be a lawyer. Good to know. But that's very interesting because I was blown away by that. But this goes to show you how much other houses have to be cleaned out as well. All right, so let's go into question number 14. Every position and minister within the government has a deputy that serves as the boss on the private side for that department. True or false? So this was a very interesting wisdom for me to learn as well, because Darren has been talking about the AG, Minister of Finance, all these different positions. But here's the thing. There is a deputy, a private deputy assigned to every position in the government to deal with private matters. That's why you don't know about them. They're too busy dealing with private individuals. They don't mingle with the publics. That's what their puppets are for.
And again, you're going to notice that the deputies are typically a life appointment. They're not elected. These elected public officials, they rotate almost every 4 years. Well, you see the difference now. When you have a man or woman come in with no experience with this portfolio, I have a finance background, but yet I'm going to be the attorney general. Well, don't worry about that because it's the deputy in the background who actually knows all the law, who actually writes all these things and just gets the puppet position or the public figure just to go up and read these scripts, which is why, again, they don't have to have the particular background required to talk to these things.
All right, question number 15. The federal deputy attorney general is who we want to be dealing with when seeking equitable relief. More remedy here, family. Pay attention. The federal deputy attorney general is who you want to be dealing with seeking equitable relief. Nope. I know again, why aren't we going to the federal level? Questions coming up on that. But we want to be dealing with the provincial deputy AG, not the federal. The only way you get to the attorney general provincially is you go to the deputy attorney general. Okay.
So yeah, a deputy attorney general provincially, deal there first. Why? Because their certificates are issued provincially. Oh, did I let one out of the bag?
Wow.
Oh, okay, we'll just back that one up too.
Okay, we're not going to give too much away because again,
okay, well, here, this isn't giving it away. When you deal with the provincial AG first and the trust is set up, they represent the trust at the federal level. They go deal with the federal attorney general, not you.
They know who they have to talk to. That's the point. So question number 16, why must our equitable relief be dealt with on a provincial level rather than a federal? This is important. Pay attention. A, the birth certificate is provincially issued. B, land is dealt with at the provincial level. C, it's how everything can stay private and internal. D, it will make its way up to who needs to know about it. E, B, C, and D, or F, all of the above. Okay, loved ones, we got a lot of remedy mixed into this one. Why must your equitable relief be dealt with on a provincial level rather than a federal? Why? All of the above. Your birth certificate is issued provincially. Land, property is all dealt with provincially. It's how everything can stay private and internal. So you can talk about that a little bit, please.
They have whole operating systems in the background. Typically, one mention is they call it the old system. Well, the old system means before the public system. There's a big one. So they're going to have all these mechanisms in the background that they can operate internally. They can issue titles internally. They can cancel things. They can do all kinds of stuff. Literally, they can do everything that we see publicly. They can do a different version of it in the background where no one sees it.
And it will make its way up to who needs to know about it. If they are being overseen, if they have to deal with someone, they can go up. That's the whole point. Okay, let's keep going, loved ones. You're doing great. Question number 17. This one isn't loaded at all. Hang tight. We're going to give you some extra time on this one because this is important. We're going to layer the last question a bit more. Why are we seeking equitable relief with the provincial deputy AG, the Attorney General, rather than the federal Deputy Attorney General? A, the provincial deputy AG must be appointed first in order to administer and represent your trust. B, provincial ministers act for the trust until there is a federal or international issue the trust requires. C, he or she knows all the bosses that manage the legal system and can tell other ministers what to do. D, property and land issues fall under the jurisdiction of the province you're in, not the country. E, they golf together each Saturday, so it's easier this way. F, A, B, C, and D, or G, all of the above. Very good, loved ones. I know this one. The easiest way for us to teach you is with questions and putting the right answers out and the wrong answers out. So why are we seeking equitable relief with the provincial deputy AG rather than the federal deputy AG? Why? Because of F, A, B, C, and D. They probably do golf together every Saturday, but nonetheless, just in case it's raining that day. So this one's a meaty one. Can you just break this down a little bit for our families so that they can help know why we're starting provincially and we're not going to the top?
Our trusts are founded in rights and property. Okay, boom. That automatically pushes us into the provincial category. Start there first. Once everything's settled and looked after, now you have an army of public servants, local. You can literally walk down the street and go talk to one of these people if you had to. They're not that far away. Now they will go and represent the trust at the federal and at the international level for the trust. We don't have to keep chasing this thing. What's the point of replicating the entire process now for ourselves and jumping up and now doing it federally? No. See, that's instantly trustee work. Let them do all of that.
Okay, let's go into question number 18. The provincial deputy AG will serve as your trust's parking lot manager and tell everyone what to do and when. True or false? So we're tying this back to the Ferrari. Okay, the provincial deputy AG will serve as your trust parking lot manager and tell everyone what to do and when. You betcha. He's going to administer and coordinate who comes in and out of your parking lot. Tell them when to come and tell them when to go.
All the commercial networking, all the transactions, everything is being dealt with and managed by this department, the Deputy Attorney General's office. And again, loved ones, remember, when I was monkeying around with birth certificate applications a couple of years back, we sent one off and we got a letter back right away from the Department of Justice saying, hey, what are you doing right here when you said this, that, and the other? And we're like, oh, look at that. Birth certificate applications are overseen by the Department of Justice. Who's in the Department of Justice? Department is headed up by the Attorney General and then all the deputies. So you can instantly see how all the Attorney General people are instantly looking at our birth certificate applications. Well, that's kind of interesting.
So you want the deputy AG in your parking lot. He knows everyone you need to know. And the ones that you need to get in touch with, he knows them too. He'll bring them in and out according to what your trust requires.
So now, am I suggesting that you as a settler or beneficiary or a relator, are you dealing directly with the Deputy Attorney General? I'm going to suggest to start this thing, yeah. We're literally appointing them, hey, you're the trustee, go. Now, don't be surprised if, you got a letter back saying, hey, wait a minute, I'm not the trustee. But in that letter, they will also tell you who the trustee is, and normally it would be a commissioner. So again, the Deputy Attorney Generals, yeah, they're busy running the department, but now they just refer it or they pass it off to someone who's on standby waiting to run with yours and go. This is where I'm going to suggest, like, the personal representative for the trust is probably not going to actually be the Deputy Attorney General, just one of their agents.
All right. So here is the federal dark team, loved ones. This is the first layer that we need to look at. We got the Governor General, we got the judges, Prime Minister, Receiver General, we've got all the other ministers, and we've got the Deputy Attorney General, as well as the Attorney General federally as well. But these are the big players.
And it's interesting that if any citizen or if anyone is going to bring a claim against Her Majesty or against the state, they don't just send their paperwork to the Attorney General. No, it actually must go through the Deputy Attorney General's office. Why? Well, I'm going to suggest because the deputy can deal with most matters, not complicating the schedule now of the Attorney General. We don't need to bother the Attorney General. They're off and doing some public something over there. We'll just maintain order and we'll deal with it privately over here.
Okay, so what we've done for this level is we've included an additional slide so that you can print this page off, and if you decide to go back and review this course, you can write your little notes in. You can put in different layers of your wisdoms, especially when we start saying a little bit more about remedy. You can go back to this and start connecting a few more dots.
And while we're looking at judges here, again, I don't remember if we just mentioned earlier, but all the judges, provincial and federal, they're all appointed from, oh yeah, see, don't want to say.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm bad at this.
Holy smokes.
Ooh, that was close.
Loved ones, we're going to take a little break and we're going to move into the provincial dark team here. So take your 5 minutes, go shake off the federal, and come back and get ready for provincial. We'll see you soon. Okay, round two, ding, ding. Here we go. We're just about halfway through these. So let's get into question number 19. We're now moving into the provincial dark team.
Two different jurisdictions. Yeah, they're very similar, but they're not.
Who is the game master provincially? A, is it the premier? B, the prime minister? C, the governor general? Or D, the lieutenant governor? Okay, so who is the game master provincially? Darren talks a lot about this, Kat. It is the lieutenant governor.
This is going to be one of the chancellor positions, loved ones. Oh, did I do it again?
Wow!
I'm just going to not say anything anymore.
There's no notes at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, okay, got it. Moving forward.
We're working a few things out for the live. Okay, so let's go into question number 20. The lieutenant governor is appointed by the governor general and reports to him directly. True or false? Okay, the lieutenant governor is appointed by the governor general and reports to him directly. True or false? True. These boys know each other and they know each other well. The governor general appoints the lieutenant governor. They are game masters.
Both chancellors.
Both chancellors. One is federal, one is provincial.
Chancellor and vice chancellor, if you want to get specific.
Question number 21.
Did I do it again?
Yep. The lieutenant governor is a chancellor who represents the queen at the provincial level. True or false? Read the words, loved ones. Might be some tricky words in there. We should be getting record answers. The lieutenant governor is a chancellor who represents the queen at the provincial level. True. Yes. And this is interesting. So do you want to go into the chancellor
Okay.
speech a little?
Queen appoints the governor general to be the chancellor. And then the governor general as chancellor appoints lieutenant governors as vice chancellors. Now, we used to think that, okay, all the equity powers are hiding in the lieutenant governor and the governor general. Well, that kind of looked like how the situation was rolling out until you do a little bit more digging and you find out the lieutenant governor appoints the judges. The governor general appoints the judges, but all those chancellor powers are passed to the judges, as in, the lieutenant governor doesn't have them no more. Judges have it. chief. Oh, I'm not even gonna say anything.
So you got to remember the chancellor was the one who filled in for the king and queen. He or she had to be a judge for them. But again, the lieutenant governor is a little bit too busy. So that's why he just passes a lot of those powers on to the judges. Okay, so here's the first member of our provincial dark team, the lieutenant governor. There he is, looking very spiffy in his glasses. All right, so again, you'll be able to print this off later and be able to layer your wisdoms with new teachings coming down the pipe. Speaking of new teachings, question number 22. After the lieutenant governor, the premier is next in line on the provincial dark team. True or false? Okay, family. So after the lieutenant governor, the premier is next in line on the provincial dark team. False. We even slipped the answer to you just a moment ago. It's the provincial judges. The lieutenant governor gives the power of judging to the judges. They are next in line. Because if the premier gets in trouble, he goes before a judge. So this was something I was like, what do you mean he gets in trouble? He goes before a judge.
If they're found colluding or doing any kind of nefarious conduct or, child trafficking or gun sale, whatever, yeah, all these cabinet ministers at the provincial level, if they get in trouble for something legally, yeah, they have to answer to a judge. Well, then if I'm answering to a judge, that would make the judge above me.
And so can you actually just touch on the question about how a judge or a lieutenant governor or a governor general can't have liability attached to them? That's what we're talking about here.
The queen could literally not be taken into a legal court for any reasons. Out of bounds, off limits. You can't sue the queen. It doesn't work. Why? Well, when you're one of her servants, it just kind of falls apart. It doesn't. Your voice is like, psh, never mind. Get back in line.
Can't attach liability.
Because these individuals know how to play but I'm not acting in person. I'm a private individual. I've got a trust. Good luck attaching legal liability to me. And I'm going to say almost always that flies. You'll hear of the odds. So I've heard of this maybe once, twice, where a judge got criminally charged with something on the legal side. But if I did a little bit deeper diggering, I would probably start to discover some equities hiding in the charges where they were able to pull that judge from the legal sphere, drop them into the equity, and then smack them with some type of disciplinary action through equity, not through the legal side.
And that's what happens when you're private. They cannot attach liability to you. This is what makes you very obsolete.
And this is why it's, as sad as the case may be, when the public hears news stories of public officials getting caught doing bad things, they seem to never get in trouble. Why is that? Well, here's why. Again, they know the backdoor protocols to kind of just wiggle out of liability.
It's a lot of power in private. That's why we have to make sure the right ones get in. All right, let's go on to question number 23. Family, you've only got 10 more. Keep it up. Only federal judges are appointed by the Governor General. True or false? Okay, loved ones, only federal judges are appointed by the Governor General. False. Why? The GG appoints both federal and provincial judges.
I mean, what's really technically the main difference here? Well, one judge essentially swears an oath to uphold provincial laws instead of federal ones. But then you got judges over there who swear an oath to serve federal laws and not provincial. So there's not much of a big difference here. I mean, literally, it's almost the exact same resume, but it just happens to be where they're sitting today. So could a provincial judge move on up to the federal and become a federal judge? Oh, absolutely. Just like lawyers are always trying to get into that judge position. That's what lawyers are ultimately trying to do. They need to actually go to law school and then practice being an attorney as a defendant, litigant, they're defending, and prosecuting. They actually have to do both, get both capacities. Once they've done enough time in both, now they get bumped into a judge position and their whole world completely changes. I want to touch on a little thing, but I don't want to.
Touch on it later.
Okay, I'll touch on it later.
Just like park it in your parking lot and bring it out later. Question number 24. The Chief Justice judges are the top judges federally and provincially. True or false? You're going to learn a lot about judges today, loved ones. The Chief Justice judges are the top judges federally and provincially. True.
The Chiefs are the boss. They are the most seasoned, the most experienced, the most adaptable to any given situation. So, yeah, the federal level and the provincial level is going to have a Chief Justice. This is going to be, again, exercising chancellor type abilities. So, at the end of the day, we've had a number of occasions in the past where we've sent in paperwork to a court and the Chief Justice responds to us. Ooh, must have made its way up the ladder pretty quick. Yeah, because they're the ones that have the most, experience and know how to deal with these things properly. Now, if you have the ear of the Chief Justice's attention, you're in a fantastic position. He is waiting for you. And again, myself included and other loved ones in the past, we've gotten to that stage and then we dropped the ball. We didn't know how to finish the matter. We didn't know how to proceed properly. We didn't know how to actually get the equitable relief that we're truly seeking. But dealing with the chiefs is always going to be a good thing to be doing.
So if you're ever dealing with the chief, you know you got the top dog.
They'll do that. They'll literally assign a case to the Chief Justice to deal with it right in the middle of a something. Oh, see there again, that's why the court system, again, they do not want to be seen as acting in dishonor. They do not want to be overturning decisions. They don't want to be things of this nature. They want to be correct every single time. And only certain judges are actually have the knowledge that the chief judge do. Now, again, you're going to see here, Chief Justice and Judge. Justice and Judge, two different capacities. Again, I'm going to suggest that the justice is pretty much strictly on the legal side, the common law at law side, and the judges are the ones exercising equity. So if you ever have a matter brought before Mrs. Thompson, judge, you instantly know, there's equity here somewhere. I just got to find it. But if you have a court matter where it's in front of Justice Thompson, you know now you're strictly legal and you got some more work to do.
Might want to put some notes down about that one. Okay, question number 25. The Queen's Bench is the highest court federally. True or false? Okay, the Queen's Bench is the highest court federally. Nope, it's not. The Queen's Bench is the highest court provincially. It's the Supreme Court that's the highest federally.
And yet, for some odd, real silly reason, in British Columbia, Canada, for example, this province's highest ranking court is called the Supreme Court of British Columbia. See, now again, why does one or two provinces have to have these oddball protocols? Why couldn't it just have been the Queen's Bench of British Columbia? To tell you the truth, I don't know. Why they titled it the Supreme Court of British Columbia? Why have a Supreme Court of British Columbia and a Supreme Court of Canada? It's just strange. But again, why the distinction? Probably just more rabbit holes for consumers like us.
It worked out really good when we had to go to Supreme Court, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Question. Oh, look at this. On to our next cutie patootie drawings. We have the lieutenant governor, and now we have the provincial judges. So you're starting to see, family, how this is layering. It's starting to make a little bit more sense. And now when we start dropping there's actually a lot of remedy coming up. You're going to start seeing who these players are and how important it is.
And how they kind of interact with each other.
Mm-hmm. Question number 26. The premier is elected by the people and the boss of the provincial ministers. True or false? The premier is elected by the people and the boss of the provincial ministers. True. He sure is. There he is.
It's almost like the provincial premier is almost like the prime minister at a provincial level. I just think, they didn't want to have prime ministers provincially and prime ministers federally just to avoid a little bit more confusion. But yeah, the premier is the top dog.
It was confusing enough.
In terms of the province. And again, for the United States, that's going to be a head of state, like a secretary of state. That's probably going to be the counterpart here. We could do a little bit of digging and actually do a little bit of, we could come up with a chart. We can actually break some of these down, in one of these days when we have a little bit more free time to play with.
But the key is, the reason we're showing you these different positions, so when we talk remedy, you know who you're sending your remedy to. We're not going to be talking a lot about the premier because he doesn't really have anything to do with the remedy, nor does the prime minister. So they can just stay and do their jobs, and we're going to be dealing with the people that we need to within these different dark teams.
Deputies.
Keyword, because deputies deal with what, family? Private. Remember that. Question number 27. Which provincial parties, more remedy coming up, are we appointing as the new trustees? A, the provincial deputy attorney general. B, the provincial deputy minister of finance. C, the provincial deputy minister of justice. D, the receiver general. E, the governor general. F, A and B. G, A, B and C, or H. All of the above. Take your time. Okay, family, we know this one is chewy. It's meaty. It's supposed to be. This is a big deal. Pay attention. This is who you are appointing as the new trustees. Which provincial parties are you appointing? G, A, B, and C.
I got that one right.
It's the Provincial Deputy Attorney General. It is the Deputy Minister of Finance, as well as the Deputy Minister of Justice. Why? Because the Deputy Minister of Justice is the Deputy Attorney General. This is huge. It's a little bit of a trick question. Again, we talked about this briefly before. On the federal level, the Attorney Deputy General is also the Deputy Minister of Justice. Now, the Receiver General is in there, but that's the one who we're sending the paperwork to. He's the grantee. He can accept things, remember, like your taxes.
And it's not technically even us sending it to the Receiver General. Yeah, we make the thing payable to him, but here, trustee over here, you deliver it to that individual, because that's already getting beyond my level of comprehension of the legal system. So I'm just going to trust that you're going to look after that for me. Thank you.
So we don't deal with the Governor General. He's federal. He's not provincial. So we're dealing with the Provincial AG, the MOF, like the Mafia, Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Justice. I know, family, your head might be getting a little heavy, a little thick. This is where I talked about where it's like, hang tight. We've only got 5 more questions.
This is the heaviest it gets. And again,
it is.
It goes up from here.
We're not going to get any heavier than this, but you got to know the players. You got to know their positions. It's important. All right, let's go on to slide number 70. Here we go. Question number 28. The Provincial Deputy Minister of Finance, the MOF, is appointed as a trustee, so he or she can take care of the trust's legal issues for you. True or false?
That's a tricky one.
I know. Darren just whispered to me, oh, honey, that was a tricky one. Yeah, it was. Read all the words, loved ones. The Provincial Deputy Minister of Finance is appointed as a trustee, so he or she can take care of your trust legal issues for you. False. Nope. The Minister of Finance doesn't take care of legal issues. The PDMF, or PDMOF, we're going to just call it the PDMOF, which is the Provincial Deputy Minister of Finance. He will take care of the trust's finances.
These portfolios are so big. Can you imagine? Here, you look after all the financing and look after all the legal. No, see, like that's just, even that makes my mind explode. Pick one. Here, okay, you deal with the legal and you deal with the finances. They're so vast. It's almost incomprehensible to ask one man or woman to know both of those realms. Again, this is why lawyers practice in a specific field. You'll got a lawyer that does this and does that, and that lawyer has no experience dealing with that legal matter. See, that's how much there is to know with all these things in the background.
Question number 29. It's important to appoint the Provincial Deputy Minister of Finance to your trust
As trustee.
because they will act as the custodian or caretaker of your securities account provincially and serve as the accountant to look after all the money. True or false? Okay, it's important to appoint the Provincial Deputy Minister of Finance to your trust because they will act as the custodian and caretaker for your securities account provincially and serve as the accountant to look after all the money. You betcha. He's your guy. Minister of Finance. It doesn't get better than him. He's going to be your accountant. He's going to do your taxes. He's who you want in your corner. Okay, here we go, family. Question number 30. The custodian of enemy property is the provincial minister of finance. True or false? Darren's talked about the custodian of enemy property. We need to know who this cat and what title he belongs to, which is the Minister of Finance. Brothers and sisters, the custodian of enemy property is the Provincial Minister of Finance. He's both. So let's talk about this, because we've talked about being enemies of the state.
So we identify as a entity that doesn't belong to us, that creates an account deficit. That means there's something off with the accounting. So it's up to the accountants to now to manage and track, okay, why is this account not performing the way it's supposed to be? Well, we got this public citizen lunatic out there running around with something that's really important. And until that comes back, we just have to manage the account for the debtor.
He babysits you.
He babysits us. And again, when we come back, fix that problem. Now he will I didn't want to say it. No, I'm going to say it anyway. And now he'll babysit the account for the creditor, not the debtor.
So once there's an event that changes your standing or position in the game, which means you go to a different counter, you're no longer an enemy. You're protected. You're an ally. You're besties with the queen.
The custodian manages something called a custodian fund. What's in the fund? Your abandoned equitable interests. That's all. And it happens to be something rather significant.
It's kind of big. You need to know about it. Question number 31. The provincial deputy AG is appointed as the primary trustee. So he or she can take care of any legal issues or anything else ministry related other than finances. True or false? For any of you seeking remedy, you better know who your primary trustee is going to be. And it ain't that one. We're not making the provincial deputy AG the primary trustee. No, we're making the provincial deputy minister of finance the primary trustee. Why? He already knows us. On a federal and provincial level, because of our request for a social insurance number, a financial transaction that we insisted upon. Not to mention the Minister of Finance provincially is going to need access to your securities account for your trust.
I know we're playing with a little certificate, but that little certificate actually represents money at the end of the day.
Lots.
It's converted into money for the trust's use and enjoyment through the beneficiaries. But because we're dealing with a monetary thing, we need to deal with that first. When we fix our money problem, we actually don't have legal problems. Because we created a money problem, now we have to deal with legal problems. So when we appoint the primary trustee to be the money manager, that's going to take care of any legal problems that we would have had. Why? Because we actually fixed the problem. We didn't just put a Band-Aid on it.
Your birth certificate is a security interest. It's a financial asset, loved ones. It needs to be in the hands of the financial guy in the game. That just makes sense. Okay. Here's our next layer. So we've got the lieutenant governor, we've got the judge, we've got the premier, and now we have all the other ministers that we just talked about. We just talked about the minister of finance as well. Look at this cutie here. We'll let you blow that one up later. And then we've also got, who we just talked about, the Deputy Attorney General.
Provincial.
Very important. So you see there's two women at the end. One's the federal Deputy Attorney General. One is the provincial Deputy Attorney General.
And if you look really closely, loved ones, if you actually exercise your powers of observation through your equitable intent, you'll actually see that the Deputy Attorney General here on the far right of the scale, it's the same woman. I just cut her hair.
And you put glasses on.
I put glasses. Yeah. So it's just to save some cartooning.
Same shit, different file.
The same card. Yeah.
There we go. Next. Okay, so again, what we've done is we've broken down the provincial dark team, so you can print this off. So as we talk about, again, different words, it's different titles for a lot of the same positions you're starting to see.
And as a matter of fact, it's a lot of the same titles for slightly different positions, just different jurisdictions, that's all.
So there they are, all blown up for your layered learnings. Question number 32, we're two away, family, hang in there. Persons are on the dark team and feed the dark players in the game. True or false? Persons are on the dark team and feed the dark players in the game? You betcha. There's a lot of people say, no, I'm on the light team. No, you're not.
We want to be on the light team, but
wanting is very different than being. Last question, loved ones. It's a little stacked, but you're going to get it. We have great faith in you. What best describes the public generally? A, the realm of the dead. B, persons only. C, corporations. D, the lowest rank in the game. E, human rights. F, hell. Or G, all of the above. What best describes the public generally? All of it. We are in the realm of the dead. We are all persons. We're all corporations. We're the lowest ranking in the game. It's starting to help people realize why they don't actually have rights. The government works for me. No, they don't.
This is such a play on words. This phrase, human rights.
Look, you can't even say it.
It is so misleading. You want to know the correct enunciation of this phrase? It would literally read this in reality. Human wrongs.
Monster wrongs.
It's that simple.
And it is hell. They made us think this is the life. Like, think of that programming. You get 2 weeks off a year. You work your ass off. You pay, what are we at for taxes now?
50-ish, 60%.
Not to mention you pay tax on everything else, but living the life. No, we are not, loved ones. We are very much right here. We are the public generally. None of this looks welcoming. None of this looks garden-like. I'm not seeing any luscious plants, things feeding me. There's a whole bunch of red, a whole bunch of devils, a whole bunch of skulls. And when Darren was drawing this, I'm like, honey, when you do that, like, do it. Like, we are here. And he upgraded it to we all were here. Because we're getting out of this rat race, family. We're going to do this.
And this is where the overcoming comes in, which plays off of some of the chats we've been having lately. But again, the sin is something that we were attached to. It doesn't need to control us. This is about us getting above, having wisdom, grace, mercy, forgiveness, exercising it, actually applying it, practicing it, being that better individual, no longer participating in dark filthiness. And in closing here, I just wanted to say this. Yeah, we've got all these principal players labeled as the dark team. But in reality, they're not the dark team. They're only the dark team because we showed up with dark intent. We actually forced them to act as dark players in our little fantasy game. And this is where you're going to see an interesting twist when it comes to the game. The light side, the light team coming up here. It may not quite be what you think, but again, this is all based on what we said we wanted to do. And the system just said, okay, here you go. Next.
We asked, we received exactly what we asked for. And then we found out there was something we could have gotten better, and then we're all pissed off we didn't ask for that, but you didn't know to ask for that. So now we got to correct what we asked for and get what we want. Dark team summary, loved ones, here it is. This is the overview of the dark team, starting with Satan all the way down to us at the bottom.
So when you hear scripture talking about who is the devil, who is the master of sin, well, look at yourself a little bit closer in the mirror tomorrow morning. It starts with us. If we stayed clean, never participated in sin, never got filthy, different set of circumstances. That's what we're aiming for. Now, is it possible to blow some of these images up at all or no? Can we just zoom in on Justin there and just make him bigger so we can all see it? I just want to see that again.
No.
No?
I'll stop sharing. Jessica, would you mind grabbing that one? So hold tight, family.
So again, loved ones, I mean, just in closing further, expressing that trust, critical. Can you imagine all these other public citizens are trying to create corporations as a tax shelter device? Well, that's all public and legal. Nice idea, but just wrong realm. You're still playing in the dead zone. Create the tax shelter through a trust. Again, part of our dominion that Father granted to us, it was our ability to name something. You didn't name yourself. What did you name? Well, I named my goldfish when I was a little girl, and then I named my dog. Okay, great. I named my child when I gave birth, fine. But did you ever think of naming a trust to act as that tax shelter system like a corporation, but for the living? Nope. No one ever thought of this. And the accountants will never, ever, ever steer you in that direction. Why? Because these individuals swear oaths, like the Bar Association, to uphold the laws of the legal system. Where in there does it say, I swear an oath to uphold the equitable system? See? There is no equitable system. It's only when we bring it.
Okay, so Jessica's got this.
Yeah, I just want to see this image just a little bit bigger.
We don't have anything. Do you guys see anything? I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, yeah, we can do it on the next one. It's no big deal. He may just be involved on the light team anyway, so we'll see.
Oh, there he is. We got to get a close up of this cat.
Yeah, I just want to see the eyeball.
Because you did a very good job of him. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Justin? Excellent. Love it. Okay, so you're going to notice on the PDFs that are going to be released for the slides, loved ones, that we have all the teams broken down. So we have the federal, we've got the provincial, and we've got the public. We have the overview of all of them so that you can print off whatever 87 pages you want, whatever questions, and even the ones that our families struggled with the most. We're going to put up the top, not the top 3 on this one, the top 5 inner circle, if you can take note of that. We're going to do the top 5 questions out of these last 33 that most of us got wrong. I wrote them and I got some wrong. Okay, so if that helps you feel better, like, how's that even possible? But it is. But this is where we all grow, and we only grow, again, by getting them wrong. This is where you want to get it wrong, like we've talked about, not in court. So we're going to be going over the light team next, which So excited to be going there because I don't grab at my face or have to go and walk off the white team. That's what's beautiful. We're going to start seeing who we should have gone to, who's waiting for us. It's so exciting. I know like your head's probably heavy right now, like mine was. So it's important, again, family, to shake that off, clear it. You needed to know some things about this dark team because it's the dark team who you're sending your remedy to.
And just one more element in closing. So this would be the third one. Why are we not dealing again at the federal level? Imagine we take a provincial certificate and we go create a federal problem. Okay, so where's the actual problem? Is it in the certificate or is it at the federal level? I'm going to suggest it's in the certificate. Let's redirect that certificate and avoid a federal problem.
This concludes episode 2, part 3 of the Dark Team. Loved ones, please put up your feels videos, jack our channels and chats up. This is about paying forward this information and this wisdom and knowledge. And the more you do this, the more we can, look, there's 14 of us on this one. I know we limited our live recordings, but at the same time, there are many that are waiting for this information. And this is not about just giving the remedy. This is why we're showing and explaining so that if you have to speak to any of these.
Do you smell that? No. Relief.
Wow. You should have done like a scratch and sniff or something.
Oh, okay.
Loved ones, we love you. Thank you for showing up. Continue your good works, and we'll see you at the next one.
Peace, everybody.